Welcome to a new episode of Legends and Storytellers. Today we are looking at one of the most fascinating and controversial figures in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. Was he a brilliant strategist and reformer who led Europe into the modern age, or a power-hungry conqueror who made countless sacrifices for his ambitions? This question still divides historiography today. Let's explore together the life of this man who left a lasting mark on the world. Napoleon was born on the island of Corsica on August 15, 1769, just a few months after it was annexed by France. He came from a rather modest Corsican aristocratic family and grew up in a time of political upheaval, which had a strong influence on him. From an early age, Napoleon dreamed of freeing Corsica from French rule and creating an independent Corsican nation. His strong nationalism and political ambitions were evident from an early age. At the age of just 9, he was sent to France for training, where he began his military career. Even then, he impressed his teachers with his intelligence and ambition, which set the course for his later career. In France, however, he suffered from the rejection of his aristocratic classmates who mocked him for his Corsican accent and humble origins. These experiences strengthened his unshakable ambition and determination. The outbreak of the French Revolution opened up new opportunities for Napoleon. He quickly put himself at the service of the revolution and attracted attention with his tactical skills in the defense of Toulon. He distinguished himself as a supporter of Republican ideals and a defender of the revolution. Napoleon skillfully used the unrest to further his career, was soon given important commands, and was appointed commander-in-chief of the Italian army in 1796. His Italian campaign was a great success and made him famous. He led his troops with impressive speed and efficiency, earning him a reputation as a brilliant general. His victories in Italy made him a hero of the revolution, but he did not shy away from merciless action against his opponents. He secured the loyalty of his troops through determination and repeated victories. In 1798, Napoleon undertook an ambitious campaign in Egypt to disrupt British trade routes and strengthen France's influence in the Mediterranean. However, the campaign was more than a military operation. It was also a scientific adventure. Napoleon took numerous scientists, engineers, and artists with him to explore and document the country. This expedition led to significant discoveries that revolutionized knowledge of ancient Egyptian culture. During his time in Egypt, Napoleon visited the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx and was deeply impressed by their size and age. He reportedly said to his soldiers, "Soldiers, 40 centuries look down on you." These words reflected his reverence for Egyptian civilization. The scientists on the expedition founded the Institut d'Égypte to explore the country. One of the most significant discoveries was the Rosetta Stone, which later led to the decipherment of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics and laid the foundation for modern Egyptology. Although the campaign did not bring the hoped-for military success, the scientific contribution to archaeology was enormous. The detailed studies and drawings of Egyptian monuments and artifacts influenced European interest in Egypt and triggered a wave of Egyptomania. Napoleon took advantage of the political instability in France and seized power in a coup d'état on November 9, 1799. In 1804, he declared himself Emperor of the French and thus laid the foundations for the First French Empire. During this time, Napoleon introduced comprehensive reforms. He modernized the education system, the administration, and above all the legal system by introducing the Code Civil, also known as the Code Napoleon. These reforms had a profound impact on Europe and are still considered milestones in legal history today. Napoleon was also active in his private life. His first marriage to Josephine de Beauharnais, whom he loved dearly, ultimately failed due to the lack of an heir. He later married the Austrian Princess Marie-Louise, who bore him a son, the so-called King of Rome. This marriage was primarily politically motivated in order to strengthen the alliance with Austria and secure a dynastic succession. Napoleon's military successes continued with his legendary campaigns. The battles of Austerlitz 1805 and Jena and Auerstedt 1806 brought him great triumphs and consolidated his supremacy in Europe. Over time, however, his aggressive expansionist policy led to growing resistance. The Continental Block, with which Napoleon wanted to isolate Great Britain economically, proved to be problematic and also damaged the economies of the occupied countries. Napoleon's ambition to control Europe brought him into more and more conflicts, particularly with Russia. His reforms in the occupied territories also met with resistance in some cases, as they were often at odds with local traditions. His uncompromising rule and the corruption in the occupying regimes led to resentment and contributed to his downfall. The campaign in Russia in 1812 marked the turning point in Napoleon's career. The initial successes soon gave way to a catastrophic defeat, as the Russian army pursued a scorched earth strategy and confronted the Grande Armée with harsh winters. Only a few thousand of the original 600,000 soldiers returned. This loss considerably weakened Napoleon's power and encouraged his opponents to forge an alliance against him. The fate of the soldiers who died of hunger, disease, and the merciless cold was particularly tragic. The fate of the soldiers who died of hunger, disease, and the merciless cold was particularly tragic. Napoleon's retreat from Russia was characterized by chaos and despair, and his authority in Europe began to wane. In 1814, the United European powers forced Napoleon to abdicate after he suffered a devastating defeat in the Battle of Leipzig. Over 92,000 soldiers lost their lives in this battle, making it one of the bloodiest of its time. Napoleon was sent into exile on the island of Elba, but returned to France in 1815. With a small force, he marched to Paris, where many of his former soldiers joined him. This eventually ended in the Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon was finally defeated. He was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he died on May 5, 1821. His death marked the end of an era that had profoundly changed Europe. On St. Helena, Napoleon wrote his memoirs and reflected on his successes and failures. His relationship with his companions was often characterized by tension, and his isolation hurt his pride. Until his death, he remained convinced that betrayal and injustice had sealed his fate. Napoleon Bonaparte left behind a complex legacy. On the one hand, he is celebrated as a brilliant military strategist and reformer. On the other, he is criticized as an ambitious ruler whose drive for expansion claimed countless victims. Thank you for accompanying us on this journey through Napoleon's life. What do you think about him? Was Napoleon a hero or a tyrant? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed the documentary, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more exciting stories. See you next time.